So I'm imagining now a child that is maybe 7 years old. You are starting primary school. You are in primary school now. You see the parents of other coming to pick them. Yours are not coming to pick you. Maybe only one is coming. Maybe only your father in a rare case, and in most of the cases, your mother if she's a broken home.
Yeah,
I want to believe that there is a serious. I want to repeat that again. That there is a serious consequences, a psychological consequences on that child. Maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong.
no, there will, of course, there will be 100% because that child's always going to feel like they're not good enough or they've been abandoned or why them or what's wrong with them? Was it them? You remember some kids grow up with blaming themselves for their parental absence. They feel like, oh, was it my fault? Was it because I was born? Why didn't he stay around? And especially when, because a lot of the cases, like the men will have other families and they will look after them and they will be different with their other kids and just like abandon that one. So that can have serious psychological effects on that child, 100%.
All right. Now, what do you think? Because I want to believe that after you screen this film, some people are going to. I do documentary too, so sometimes I remember a number of times that I've screened my documentary. I have the so-called Q&A where we start to. Maybe the documentary session didn't even last as long as what the Q&A is going to last for. I mean, in terms of the question and answer, because people need to interact. I believe as a filmmaker, if you make your film, you take it to a cinema or take it to screen somewhere, everybody see it, then everybody just go home and say, okay, bye bye. I don't
Yeah.
think you are going to be happy. You are stirring up a conversation. Your joy is that at the end of the day, people are going to agree, some other are going to disagree. That is where you have the time to be able to explain why did you have to tell the story like this. So I believe somebody is going to ask you at the point, what is the solution? So that a man and a woman can stay together to take care of their children. We believe that this is the right family. What would be your answer?
I feel like that there should be programs and like I believe that like if a man is like for me a solution would be like that there's repercussions. So if a man becomes absent, he's perfectly able to care for that child. He wouldn't put the child in danger. He's just running away. I believe they should be reprimanded to take a course and learn about the impacts that they're having on that child. That is what I strongly believe. Like if you're drink driving and you get caught, you're sent onto a course to learn about the impacts that you can have by doing that. So why shouldn't it be the same for someone who just abandons their child? Like we need to start educating each other on how this affects not only the child, but who we become as adults, because it's a lifelong impact that it has on your life of not having that other parent around because you have so much different questions and why should you have to heal from being born? Like I had to go through a healing process to understand who I was and why I had so much certain issues, especially in relationships. Why did I have those issues? And that was down to not having a dad around. So I feel like the absent parent needs to understand the impact, because understanding the impact and hearing like older adults speak about what they went through as a child, it might change things. It might change things. I feel it could change things a lot because at the minute we don't know. We don't. Nobody talks about it. So how is a man? If a man, like I'm using a man for example, but it can be a woman. But if a man's absent, he's absent out of his child life for I'd say what 15, 20 years. He's getting on with his life. He doesn't know that child. He doesn't see that child. So he doesn't have no understanding of what the child is going through or who the child has become or what's going on in that child's head. He's just living his life. But then add on another 15 years and that child ends up on drugs or just in a really bad sort of societal deficit way, and then he's not gonna put that down to his absence. But then evidently it could be down to his absence of how that person has turned out. Does that make sense?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I think we have to bring it to the forefront. We have to have these conversations. We have to have the debate. And I feel like it is happening. Like, it's people are talking about it more. When I started making this film, because I tried to make this film before so many times, and I feel like it wasn't ready because it was so early and people weren't ready to have the conversations back then. But I feel like now people are ready to have these conversations. People are ready to learn. And men, I feel like if they get the information, they will learn. They will learn. Like, when me and my ex used to go through certain situations, instead of me screaming at him and things like that, I'd send him information about his actions, of how it was having an impact on me. And he did change it around. And I do believe a lot of like educating him helped him.
All right, I
Yeah.
like that. The educating him helped him. Now, I want to turn the question around. Is it only the men that actually need the education or the women too? I want to get the picture clear from you because you are doing this story, you are collecting data around it. Is the problem only with the men, or do you also find that it's something that both way need to or learn to better adapt to this? Because now we are talking of relationship. It's a relationship that is broken. That is why the men run away. But if we can mend it, it will stay.
Yeah, I think it can be both, because it takes two to tango. And I feel like, obviously, when you are sort of abandoned with your child, it conjures up certain emotions, and those emotions are usually bitterness, anger. So oftentimes, and a lot of the times, it's the way the woman responds as well. Like, we don't always respond in the best way. That's why the men might say, "Oh, my baby mother's crazy," or something, because you are left with a lot of anger and resentment when you're left in those situations. So I feel like it's not just one-sided, and women can be taught as well. And like what you say, we should have more programs on building the family back together, like bringing the families back together, a lot more mediation. And I know a lot of that stuff is happening now. So it is, when I was sort of going through my situation, these things weren't around, or it was just like starting out. It was just on the cusp of like going to mediation and things like that, because the family unit is so important. It's such a powerful thing to have like your family together.
Now, doing story that are okay, I don't want to say complicated, but require a lot of things to put together now because I can imagine the research you are going to do, talk to different people, and even of course put your emotion in it. Okay, I understand also your background and all that is something that you might particularly be passionate about to talk on, which make it even very valid. Uh, what inspires you in your filmmaking to do stories like this and others?
What inspires me to do stories like this, because I'm all about injustice and change. So it just inspires me to, because I hear people talking about stuff, and then I'm just like, why is no one like making a film about this? Because it's all about sort of debate and conversations and bringing things to the forefront of our society, like things that people do dismiss and are taboo and people don't want to talk about. So I'm inspired for that sort of change, because the way I've written the film, the way I've written Absent, I feel like it's got so many different story arcs, it's got so many different angles, it covers the generational cycle of absent parenting. It covers sort of like the breakdown in family units and things like that. So I don't feel like the film has any stones left unturned. So I'm just inspired about making change, really, and having my voice heard representing my culture, representing things that I go through that I feel can help others and give a voice to others in similar situations.
I remember you did make mention of the fact that you have an academy where you teach people about storytelling. Is it correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and so maybe you might have something there that you are selling. I want you to use these few seconds to promote yourself. Tell people how to get you. Let's go.
Okay, so if you want to find me, guys, you can go to my website, which is www.ascottproductions.com, or you can find me online. If you type in Aysha Scott in Google, you will get all my socials, my Google, TikTok. I'm on YouTube, Twitter, so I'm everywhere, LinkedIn. So yeah, that's how you can find me online. If you do want to learn about filmmaking, I do run some workshops, so do get in touch. I also run a filmmakers consultancy, so if you want advice on how to make a short indie film with no budget, then yeah, get in touch as well.
If you want to start, you have limited budget, Aysha is there to help.
100%.
Okay, so what will be your final statement here to conclude the conversation?
Well, I just thank you for having me for starters. Like, I really appreciate you giving me the platform I feel like I've really gone into depth with so many things here in terms of just my filmmaking, who I am. And it's just so important to have podcasts like this to sort of reach the masses and reach different audiences. So yeah, no, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.